Let's be real. Building a website is a big deal. You've poured hours into it, the colors are just right, the photos look amazing, and the copy sounds exactly how you would do it or want it. You finally hit publish and think, yay, this is it. Or you've outsourced it and you've hired an amazing brand and web designer and you're so excited for it, but then silence. No new clients, no spike in traffic, crickets, or people only hearing about you from social media and you having to rely on that every single day daily post. The frustrating part, you don't even know if anyone can actually find your website because you haven't been informed on how to check. So here's the thing most people don't realize. Even sub-web designers miss this. A beautiful website doesn't automatically mean visibility. In fact, 96% of web pages online get zero organic traffic from Google. Zero. So, in this episode, I'm breaking down a simple way to check if your site is actually showing up on Google, why that matters, and a few small steps you can take right now to start changing it. And because I don't want you guessing, I've got a free SEO monitoring guide you can grab after this episode that outlines everything we're going to talk about because, there's a lot of information on the site or in this episode. I am on a journey to get better in all areas of my life, and I want to do it with you. Welcome to the Being Better Everyday podcast, where we dig deep into all the things a millennial mom needs to know. From how to juggle your passions with your full-time job, to asking the hard questions about hormones and health, and learning from one another along the way. I am Julie Wenslick, and as a mom, business owner, and corporate girly, sometimes life can feel like a lot. So join me in the journey of being better every day, where we create habits and routines that support your life, create calm in the chaos, and put the you back in your everyday. Grab those headphones, put on your shoes, and join me on a walk while we get started with today's episode. So first of all, obviously we should start with why does that visibility actually matter? When it comes to websites, we often think pretty equals powerful. That was me with my first business, and I had a site that looked amazing, but no one ever saw it. And I couldn't figure out why the inquiries weren't coming in. I had no idea what SEO is, and I've talked about that in the past, and I've learned since, and now I can't stop talking about it. So let me give you a few more recent examples. I have worked with Color Fix Minnesota, a seasonal color analysis business here in Minnesota, and she had her site live for almost a year and wasn't getting organic traffic, wasn't getting the reach and inquiries. The majority of her business was referral-based business, where she was just getting referrals from people she knew. And again, clients weren't finding her through search. They were finding her because they were a friend of a friend or, PTA, etc. And the truth is, her site wasn't optimized for how people actually search. She had a one-page website, no targeted keywords, and no SEO strategy. And because she was on Squarespace, she also had header tags kind of tagged based on design, not based on SEO. So I revamped her website, and after just a couple of months of SEO and kind of implementation, she has had over 50 people click into her website directly from Google on her anchor keywords. That's 50 potential clients and appointments that would have never found her otherwise because they are not referral based. So your website without SEO is like a boutique in the middle of the woods because beautiful shelves, curated displays, but if no one knows you exist, it doesn't matter. So how do you actually check if you're showing up on Google? SEO minimums, like you as a business owner should have this, regardless if you have a web designer, regardless if you have somebody else helping you from a technology perspective. Like I 100% feel like you should know this and it should be kind of your minimum threshold as a business owner. And the first thing is having your Google Search Console set up. So you literally Google Search Console, and this is where you see what people are typing to be able to find you. And we'll go through impressions versus clicks, but this is actually showing you the keywords, i.e. words, that of how people are finding you on Google or how you are showing up on search. Now, Google is obviously not the entire area where people find you on search nowadays, so we'll get into that. The second part of that is Google Analytics. That is actually where traffic is coming from. And that is not just Google traffic. I think that's a common misconception. Is like Google Analytics will only show you Google traffic. No, it's going to show you all traffic, whether it's Instagram, Pinterest, AI, Bing, etc. is going to show you everything of like where is your traffic coming from? How long are they staying on your site? What are they navigating to? Google Analytics is a little bit overwhelming, but once you kind of get the basics down, at least you can kind of know how many people have been to your site, what pages are the most popular, where are they coming from? I love finding like AI, for example, when people are showing up in AI and getting clicks through that way. So again, as a minimum, you need to have Google Search Console set up, Google Analytics. If you don't know how to set that up, that's where my updated SEO monitoring tools guide will show you how to set these up and the basics of how to read them. Another fun kind of quick health check and the thing that I highly encourage everyone to have is your Ubersuggest Chrome extension. Ubersuggest does have a lifetime membership where you can do unlimited keyword research for like $290 total, but it's going to give you a quick health check of your site. So it's going to show things like, for example, I'm pulling up Color Fix Minnesota, and then I'm actually going to share my screen. So those on video, I am going to share things on and off on this podcast. For those on video, I'm showing you Color Fix Minnesota's page. And if I go to her domain overview, you can see immediately from my Google Chrome plugin that she's up 4 organic keywords since last month, ranking for 14. Note with Google or Ubersuggest, it's always lower than what is actually on Google Search Console, but it's just kind of giving you a ballpark and you can see trends even if it's Ubersuggest trends. And then organic monthly traffic. So this is going to be, in her case, she's up 24 people in organic traffic since last month, and you can kind of see the huge uptick post SEO optimization for her. Her domain authority is still 2. I believe I've talked about it in other SEO episodes. And then she has 7 backlinks, again, an area for improvement. But then you can kind of see keyword traffic, backlinks, and then you can do a full site audit. Now, I don't remember if the site audit is free, but at least this overview should be free for everyone. And it will at least give you the trend of how your traffic is doing over time. Now, those are, again, at a minimum, the tools you should have set up as a business owner to at least see where you're getting traffic. Now, when you go into Google Search Console, then it gets a little more, analytical as far as where are my keyword traffic coming from, where are my impressions coming from, etc. So I've pulled up my Google Search Console just for privacy's sake. I'm not pulling up anyone else's, and you can kind of see in mine, right? If I go to search results, you can see that there are something called total clicks, total impressions. Now, total impressions is the amount of times that you have shown up on Google, regardless of the page of where you've shown up. So on mine, for example, I show up for a lot of keywords, but I'm not, necessarily pushing to optimize to page 1. But for example, if I scroll down, I am showing up for 482 keywords. Now, a lot of those are going to be related keywords, and my average position is 50. That means I'm on the 5th page of Google. I'm highly unlikely to get clicks through to Google in that way. Now, if I look at total clicks, I have had 39 clicks through to my website. Now, for example, if I look at Fashion Fix Minnesota, or even myself, right? So my clicks are mostly on my business name at this point, although I have gotten one for web design near me. Again, P&W Designs, Being Better Everyday Podcast, P&W Designs. And then you'll see where these numbers are, this SEO monitoring tools, SEO best practice checklist, etc. So that is really going to be where, if I look at SEO monitoring tool and I click into it, right, you can kind of see this traffic drop off, impression drop off, which means ultimately where you can get like really analytical with your keywords is I clicked into SEO monitoring tool and it's on these 2 pages and I am no longer ranking, right, for this keyword. So if I wanted to continue to try to get traffic, what I would do is I would boost this page somehow, or maybe write a complimentary blog reinforcing this keyword, which, hello, what do you think this podcast is? I'm able to reinforce that I'm an authority on that keyword by creating further content for that keyword. So again, SEO monitoring tools, and then I have a lot regarding like Squarespace and Showit, etc. The other thing you can do in Google Search Console, again, still sharing my screen for video, if you do watch this on YouTube, is you can kind of see per page, right, where you're getting the clicks, where you're getting the impressions. So for example, my sales page, For SEO monitoring tools, I had 10,000 impressions in the last 3 months, but only one click through. Not surprised because I'm not really on the first page or near the first page for that. It is a pretty difficult keyword. Whereas like Pinterest marketing guide, I've had some traffic since. Now, I did just refresh my website, so I think I need to re-index some of these pages. Again, you can kind of see each page, the traffic, where you're getting inquiries, right? And this one, for example, my business planning toolkit workbook one, I wasn't getting impressions on my old website. When I refresh my website, now I am getting impressions. So it totally just depends on the page, how old it is, and where you're getting traffic. The other thing you can see on Google Search Console is what keywords you're starting to rank for and where you are from a average position. If you have an average position of 20 to 30, that means you're on page 2. What I would recommend you do then is create complementary content to reinforce that keyword to try to push yourself up to page 1 and refresh the content that is already giving you traffic on page 2 of Google. Now, totally depends if it's a blog or if it's an anchor page, but that's kind of the SEO strategy behind it. Once you actually look into your Google Search Console, is you can then look at what is starting to get traffic, what is getting inquiries, where are you getting the impressions, where are you on Google as far as average position, and then can you reinforce somehow create a stronger content around it to rank better for that keyword if it's important to you. So, again, Color Fix Minnesota is 2 months into her, at the time of recording, almost 3 months into her SEO refresh, and she has already gotten 11 clicks into her website from Color Analysis Minnesota, 6 clicks in for Color Analysis Minneapolis, Color Analysis Near Me. She's gotten 3 clicks in, and then her business name as well. But she's also ranking for new keywords around, color season analysis, colors where you can get your colors done, where to get colors done near me, different color palette seasons, getting colors done near me, color analysis near me price. So again, all these keywords that I had added and added a service page for her so that she had a better chance of ranking. And really, you think about it, her website is only 4 pages. So think about how much traffic she's gotten just by optimizing and making sure that she's using the correct header tags and keywords. It's not like she has this really long, big history website. She has a decently new website that just has the fundamentals down right. So it really does make an impact as far as the growth in your business. And she made her money back in one appointment by having this done and getting it optimized. Now, you might be thinking, like, how is AI changing SEO and why do I still care about SEO? And first of all, AI is definitely reshaping how people search and what actually gets clicked. If you've noticed less traffic on how-to blog posts, even well-written ones, you're not imagining things. The rise of AI-powered summaries is certainly changing the SEO landscape. Google recently rolled out AI overviews, which are the neat little summaries on top of your search results. So if I go to Google and I search SEO monitoring tools, for example, because we were just talking about that. So if I searched SEO monitoring tools, you can kind of see the sponsored stuff first, and then right underneath it is this AI overview. So top SEO monitoring tools include SEMrush, Ahrefs, Google Search Console, and Agency Analytics. And then you can kind of see on the right here where they're pulling this from. So Zapier and SEMrush are the top 2 sources for this. And this 11 best SEO tools in 2025, what we're finding is they will often pull from more recent content for these AI overviews. And if you can get in an AI overview, you do have a much higher likelihood of getting click-throughs. The other thing is, and then again, you'll see kind of sources from the web, and then now you'll see kind of content. Now, even for this, right? 12 best SEO tools for 2025. 20 best SEO tools in 2025, right? You have these top page ranking ones are all blogs with 2025. So if I really wanted to, or I should say I should write a blog for 2026 and kind of put that in my to-do list for December, to kind of increase my likelihood of showing up for this keyword to be able to promote my free opt-in. So hopefully you followed that. But again, like just from a concept perspective, certainly the way even your Google looks is changing. And according to Ahrefs data, informational content is especially hit. So if you're used to just making informational how-to guides, certainly kind of the fundamentals of SEO, the click-through rates has dropped by 34%. Even number one ranking, people are getting less clicks depending on the type of content, right? Sometimes 80% of results are zero click results. It's going to slash your organic traffic by about 25%, according to some studies. Now, what it matters is traditional SEO isn't dead. It just needs to evolve, and you can't rely on just having the informational content. You need to position your content so it can be featured in AI summaries. You need to position it as less informational, more as an opinion, I guess is the word. You can still show up on search traffic, which is often called like answer engine optimization or generative engine optimization. It's still SEO. And I think that's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is like even having good content for AI is still SEO. It's still utilizing keywords to make sure you're answering the questions your people care about in a way that will matter to them. So, for example, from a podcast episode perspective, I can name it like how to tell if your website shows up on Google. But for my blog, I might name it 7 simple ways to tell if your website is actually showing up on Google because listicle posts do really well on search. And it's not just how to, it's 7 ways. So, those little tweaks make a big difference as far as search traffic and actually getting organic traffic and click-through rates to your website. Now that we've talked about what are impressions and clicks, what tools should you have set up, why it matters, the other thing to think about is certainly okay, if you figure out how to actually look at your website and see if you are getting results, again, download my tool to actually walk you through how to do that. Then you might be thinking, okay, well, why am I not getting results? A couple common things that keep you from being visible. Certainly not having a defined keyword strategy. I think kitschy headlines are the most common thing I see with web designers, where even if you want the your biggest header, now depending on the web platform you're on, but your biggest header being, you know, cute or attention grabbing, right? Because you want them to actually read it. I'm gonna share a recent client I did, Natalie. I'm actually on her podcast on Monday, which will be after this episode airs. Um, Natalie's website, we certainly wanted to focus on SEO, but we didn't want it to be the only thing you read. So because we show it, we're able to say mindset coaching and virtual Reiki sessions with Natalie as her H1 header that is what we call an eyebrow header. It's smaller and it's on the top. And then Live Your Lit Up Life is the big H2 header that really talks about her mission, her vision, her values. Same thing with like if I go to Renew Health, Renew Me PT, another website I just updated, it says at home physical therapy in Minneapolis Metro. That is her eyebrow header. And then the bigger header is healing care for pregnancy, postpartum, and active lifestyles delivered to your door because she does at home physical therapy in the Minneapolis Metro. So, again, there are ways to make SEO still not be the immediate thing you see, but still you are able to use the keywords, not interfere with the design, I think is where I was going with that. So, the other thing is you need to make sure you have your SEO titles and meta descriptions filled out. That's going to be what shows up on Google when people search for you. So super important. People will not click through if those are not filled out. You need to have substance in your content, not just necessarily informational, not something that's going to be able to be pulled from an AI overview. You need to have backlinks, which is other people linking your website. That is super important as well in order to help Google understand that people trust you. And, again, I think we'll go into some of these more as the podcast progresses, but just some ideas of, again, it's not just a lot of it has to do with your underlying structure of SEO and your keyword strategy. Certainly work with either, a web designer, a blog copywriter, or sorry, a content copywriter, SEO strategist if you're struggling with those. I'm not technically a copywriter, but all of my web design projects do come with SEO strategy and copywriting for that reason, because it is so important to your actual web results. Quick wins for today. If you go into your Google Search Console, one of the things you're going to want to see is that you have a sitemap. So Google, no pun intended, how to do that for your specific web platform if it is not set up, but you should have your sitemap under sitemaps under Google Search Console. That's going to tell Google to automatically read your sites. Anytime you make an website update, you are going to want to re-inspect your URL under Google Search Console. That basically tells Google, hey, I've updated this. Go read it. Another homework item, make sure your core web pages have a keyword and meta description, and make those small, consistent moves to help, over the long term, improve your SEO. Now, I know how overwhelming this can feel, and especially if this sounds like a foreign language to you, but just remember, like, I want your beautiful website to actually be seen by your customers. So if you want the guide to walk you through how to do this, make sure you download my free SEO monitoring tools guide within the show notes, and that will walk you through everything. It is 28 pages, so heads up. But again, great resource to be able to kind of understand how to do it and what certain things mean. So thank you again. Here's the bottom line. Your website deserves to be seen. It isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter with a few intentional steps. Websites are so important. Blogs are so important so that your content doesn't expire within 24 hours. So my challenge for you this week is to check if your site is actually being seen by Google. Open Search Console, look at the impressions, and update one page with either a keyword, your SEO title, or meta description. And if you're ready for a step-by-step path to grab, my free SEO monitoring tools guide, it's waiting for you in the show notes. And obviously, if you would like to outsource any of this and update your website, you know where to find me by pwdesigns.com/SEO-services, because your people are out there searching, and the only question is, are they finding you? And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Being Better Everyday podcast. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate each listener. If you've enjoyed the conversation, I'd love if you would leave a rating and review or share it with your bestie to help me reach more women looking to ask the hard questions and live above that status quo. To see any visuals, head over to my YouTube channel. Links, socials, and resources mentioned can be found in today's show notes. If you're looking for more, you can find me on Instagram at julie.pw designs, sharing the behind the scenes of my everyday life as a millennial mom, corporate girly, and small business owner. Until next time, keep on taking one step at a time towards your version of being better every day.